Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. So, one of the things that I love about the internet is that you can get anything that you want. If you're hungry and you don't feel like going out for food, there's Uber Eats, there's Grubhub, there's all these services that can bring food straight to your door. If you need a ride someplace, again, there's Uber, there's Lyft, all of these ride sharing services. If you don't want to go grocery shopping, you can have it delivered. You can have pretty much anything delivered to you. And you can also have a man brought to you. Yes, today we are going to talk online dating. And if this is your first time watching me, my name is Keisha Rice. I am the pre-wife coach. I help single professional Christian women learn how to attract their future husbands and how to do it without compromising their values, their identities, or their sanity. So back to online dating. I really wanted to do a video about this because almost every time a woman comes to me asking for help with her dating life, with finding a husband, I will hear something along the lines of, Keisha, I really want to meet men, but I'm not doing the whole online dating thing. I'm just not going to do that. And you do not have to go online to meet a man. When you and I work together, we'll talk about different places you can go, different ways that you can meet the man who's going to become your husband. But online dating is a really great option. It really is. And it's great for women who are shy, because then you take out the first meeting being in public. Hey Diana, glad that you're watching today. So again, online dating is great for women who are shy because your first meeting is behind a keyboard, behind your phone. So that takes away some of the nervousness. It is great for women who are always coming to me and saying, oh, I don't have time to go out to these networking events. I stay at home all the time. Well, if you're dating online on an app or on a website, you can do that from home. You can do that while you are in the doctor's office, waiting in the waiting room for your appointment. You have so many options in so many places. Hey Petra, hope that you're having a great Wednesday. So yeah, dating online opens those options to you, that the convenience factor is added. You have the not having to worry about time because you can do it anywhere. You can take 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And also, it just opens up more options for you. There are more opportunities to meet men if you're going online, because you have the chance to meet men that you may not have met otherwise. So, in case you're wondering, before I found my fiance, yes, I did the online dating thing. And my experience with it was I met some very great guys there. And I also met weirdos, and I also met jerks. So my experience was the exact same as if you meet a man in person. So I really don't think that you should take online dating out of the picture. And I know women often have concerns about safety when it comes to online dating, and I get that. But first of all, a man can lie to you as easily when he meets you in person, just as he can online. So that factor is really not even a factor at all. Also, if you're worried about safety, I don't know if you've ever watched shows like Catfished on MTV. If so, you will see a lot of great tips on a show like that. You can also Google it as far as learning how to check pictures and making sure they're authentic. Also, when it comes to dating, whether you meet a guy online or whether you meet him at a volunteer event, a networking event, if you don't know him very well, the same rules apply no matter what. I always recommend that your first date is during the daytime. Of course, you should tell at least one person, maybe more than one person, where you're going to be, about how long you expect to be there. I recommend that you drive yourself or get your own ride there. If you are going to let a guy pick you up, which of course comes with him knowing where you live and things like that, then I recommend that you have money to take a cab home, to get an Uber home, to get a Lyft home in case you need to leave the date. And I am not a fan of what I see some women do, which is having their friends come along and put on some disguise or pretend that they're not paying attention and basically stalk the date. That puts on a lot of pressure on your part because you know that your friend is watching. It can get really awkward if your date catches that, but if you are really concerned, if you're very nervous about meeting someone for the first time and is someone that you met online or is someone that maybe a friend of a friend introduced you to, there are ways around that. I know back when I was single, One of the things that I did once was I was meeting a guy that I wasn't very sure about. So I met him for lunch. I chose a restaurant that was in a shopping center that had a Starbucks next to it. So I had a friend who, at the time, she owned her own business. And basically, I gave her a couple of bucks to buy some coffee, buy herself some snacks, and she brought her laptop to the Starbucks. She did her work while she was there. And if at any moment I felt nervous that I needed to get out of there, she was literally right next door. So she was right there without actually stalking the date and watching the date and making me feel awkward, and also making the guy feel awkward if he had caught that. So, again, there are plenty of things to keep in mind with safety. There are also things to keep in mind with making sure that a guy is who he says he is. If you'd like me to do a separate video on that at some point, just hop in the comments and let me know, and I can definitely do that for you. But I wanted to talk mainly about some of the things that I want you to watch out for when it comes to meeting a guy online. So the first one is age difference, because I have noticed that men tend to be overly broad on what ages they are willing to date in their online profiles, and women tend to be a little bit too narrow. So there are many different theories about acceptable age difference, but in general, if a man is, say, 35 and he has on his profile that he is willing to date women as young as 19, to me that is a huge red flag. That whole 15-year difference, 20-year difference, those are, first of all, really hard to manage because you're talking about different generations. You are talking about having fewer things in common. It's also oftentimes for a man a vanity thing. It makes him feel good, the fact that he can date a woman who's that much younger. And also, men who want to date that much younger also tend to be less likely to commit. On the other hand, I have seen men who say that they want to date women who are way older. And to me, that is also a red flag, because then you run into the chance of, just like there are sugar daddies and female sugar babies, you also have male sugar babies and female sugar mamas. And you run into situations where a man who is really young wants to date a woman who is so much older because he thinks that she is going to take care of him. Natasha says that she's extremely skeptical of online dating, and I understand that. I definitely do. But I do want you to at least think about it. I do want you to at least consider the possibilities. Even if you decide that, hey, it's not for me, I want you to give some thought to it, and just be open to trying new things. So again, what is an acceptable age difference when it comes to what you list and what the man lists on an online dating profile? And yes, I want to say that there are exceptions to every rule, because I know someone is going to hop in the comments later and say that. Yes, I know men who have dated women who are 20, 30 years younger than them, and those relationships are great. I have a great aunt who, her husband is about 20 years younger than she is. They've been married for 20, 25 years now. They are going strong. And my fiance is 5 years younger than I am. So, I see different age differences, and they do work in individual situations. But if you are going to go the online dating route, I'd like you to be a little bit pickier, and I'd like you to be a little bit more skeptical, because first of all, if you're dating online, you have a lot of choices, way more choices than you do in real life. So you can narrow a little bit. You can narrow it down a little bit, and you still have more options than you would have in real life. Also, dating online is a way to quickly meet men. So I want you to be able to look at profiles at a glance and just be able to be like, yes or no. Natasha says that she's considered online dating, that she's kind of wanted to, but most guys seem, she says sleepy, I think he means sleazy. And if that's the case, they're out there. They totally are, but they're also out there in real life as well. So the risk is really honestly the same. I can tell you that, again, from my personal experience, also from women that I've worked with. You will meet great guys online, just like you will meet great guys in real life, and you will meet terrible guys both online and in real life. So in my opinion, that is less of a factor, because you're going to have that no matter what. So back to the age difference. I want to break that down into how old you are as you are going into this. So if you are in your 20s, then my recommendation for you is that if you set up an online dating profile, you consider men who are 2 to 3 years younger than you, all the way up to 9-10 years older. And I'd like you to keep it in that range. If you are a woman in your 30s, I would like you to consider men who are down to 5 years younger than you, all the way up to about 10 years older. And again, keep it in that range. If you are older than your 30s, so you're in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, what have you, then I would like you to consider a plus or minus 8. Yes, I am telling you to consider men who are as much as 8 years younger and men who are about 8-9 years older. And that's the same thing that I want you to look for in a man's profile as well. He should be looking for partners in those age ranges. Those are very realistic dating age ranges. Those are ranges where you can still have things in common with the person, and it shows that you're looking for a more serious commitment because you're centering around people who are closer to your age. So again, I recommend that you avoid men who are looking for women who are 15, 20 years younger than they are. That 7-8 years, especially as you start to get older, is a really good range to stick in. Also, I want you to watch what he says. So, and I want you to keep this in mind as well when you are creating your own profile. Negativity is always a red flag. And by negativity, I mean things like, I had a woman that I worked with, she actually put in her profile, hey, I'm really skeptical of this, but my coach says I should consider it. That is not something that you want to put in your profile, because think about the message that you're sending with that. You're saying, I don't think this is going to be fun. This is totally not going to work. I'm not even open to it. I'm just doing this because someone says that I have to. Guy's going to look at that and he's going to be like, well, why would I want to go out with you if you just think that you have to do this and you don't want to do it? But also avoid using a lot of nots. So don't say things like, I don't want a man who does this. I want a man who will not do this. Again, it's very negative and it feeds into a lot of negative energy, and that's what you will attract back. By the same token, you don't want men who use things like that in their profiles. Just scroll past, swipe. Someone, if you're watching and you know the answer to this, Tinder, is it swipe left if you like them or swipe right? Because I did not use Tinder when I did the online dating thing, but swipe the other way to reject them. Let's just keep it that way. Also, don't be afraid to make the first move. And I know a lot of women have a problem with this. Please hear me out. The quality men, the men who have the better jobs, who have the better careers, who are better looking, who frankly have more options, they are already getting bombarded with options every single day just when they go out and about. And also, a lot of those men are very skeptical themselves of the whole online dating scene. They are afraid, especially if they make a certain amount of money or they work in certain industries, that they're going to only attract women who are going to use them and who are going to abuse them. And they get very overwhelmed by the amount of options that they have. So you will stick out if you are willing to, you see a man who is really great and you think the two of you would be a great match. You will stick out, you will stand out if you say, hey, I'm going to make the first move and I'm going to message him. That doesn't mean that you have to ask him out on a date. Just send a little message that says hello. Point out something in his profile. I saw that you like horror movies. I like them too. I saw that you like this type of food. I like them too. Just leave it at that. And from there, he can be the assertive man that you want him to be, and he can take it from there. But I really would like you to consider making the first move, because I will hear women tell me all the time, I want a man who's assertive. I want a man who's not afraid to just go out there and just reach out to me and tell me that he wants to date me. You will find some good men who will do that, but let me be honest with you. The majority of the men who have no problem reaching out to women, a lot of them have canned messages that they send the exact same message to any woman who shows any interest or to any woman who even matches with them on a profile. So just because someone is eager to reach out to you, that does not make him quality. I really want you to think about that. Also, I would like you to do your research, because depending on whenever you are watching this video, the newer dating apps, the newer websites tend to have more quality people. There are, again, exceptions, but typically the older an app is, the older a dating website is, the less the quality is. It tends to go down over time because everybody and their mama gets on the site. So you really want to consider newer sites, newer apps, and you can just always just search dating apps, dating websites, see what is out there. You'd be surprised at the number of choices. You'd be surprised at your ability to niche down, because there are Christian dating sites, there are dating sites for like farmers only, that is for men and women who like to farm and ranch. There's also Bumble, which is an app where women make the first move. I've heard mixed reviews about Bumble personally, but it's something that you can consider if you don't want men constantly messaging you. You can be the one who always makes the first move and never have to worry about getting messages from men that you're not interested in. And also, while we are on that tangent, because I hear this a lot with the whole safety concern, that women will say to me, well, I don't want to just give my phone number out to strangers. If that is a concern for you, you should really consider getting Gmail, that is Google's Mail, because if you have a Gmail email address, so for example, in my case, Keisha Rice Relationships at gmail.com, anything that ends at gmail.com, the fact that you have a Google account means that you can also get Google Voice. So Google Voice is a free app that you can download on your phone, and you can choose a number and you can give that phone number out to men first. So you can give them that phone number instead of your main phone number. And then when you get to know someone better and you're more comfortable with them, you can tell them, hey, I use more than one phone number. I gave you the number that I tend to use less often at first, but now that we've been seeing each other, I would like you to use this phone number instead. So that is also a tip for these safety concerns that would help you out. That way you don't have to give out the phone number that you use all the time if privacy is a concern for you. Also, my last thing is, if you are an older woman, and I will let you define for yourself what an older woman is, then you should really consider websites, dating websites, as opposed to dating apps, because the apps tend to skew younger. They attract a younger crowd. So you will find more men who are closer to your age if you go to a traditional dating website as opposed to using an app on your phone. And of course, a lot of these websites, you can access the mobile version if you still want to use it on your phone. Some of them have both. So they started out as a website and now they also have an app version as well. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't use the app version. But again, if you are an older woman, you will tend to also find older men on the websites more than you will the apps. So these are a few tips that I have on online dating. Let me know what your takeaways are. Use my hashtag #TheCherishedWoman. If you have any questions, feel free to post them, because I do come back and I will comment and I will answer your questions. And also, if there is something that I discussed with you in this video that you really want more details on, just let me know and I can do a separate video on that. So if you want a whole video just on dating safety, not just safety from when you meet a man online, but just in general on the first date, some safety things to keep in mind. If you want to talk more about age differences in dating, anything that you really want me to go into more detail on, feel free to let me know. And I will talk to you guys soon. Also, if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, or if you're interested in joining my group, my group coaching, which is Confidently Cherished. The doors for that are going to open again in January. And I actually was not going to say anything about that, but I've already had some women reach out to me privately and they've asked about it. So technically, the waiting list is open, which is why I'm mentioning it now. You will hear more about it in a few days. And I will talk to you guys soon, okay? Bye.